like, I need to get my point across and tell them what they did wrong. And like, maybe those are things you will do in the conversation. Get your point across and tell them what they did wrong. But you can do that in such a different way when your motivation is to stay in the team.
Yeah. I think a good tool that people can use is, let's make sure this conversation has a part 2.
So today we're going to talk about 3 tips for having hard conversations with your significant other. And this is really important because if you have a relationship that's worth it, you might most likely will have a hard conversation ahead of you, behind you. There's hard conversations in relationships.
And hard conversations are inevitable. I think that whatever stage of relationship you're at, you have to not ask the question, will they happen? But rather, when they happen, how will we make adjustments to ensure that we're supporting one another in those? And so these are 3 tips that we've learned through our relationship and through watching other relationships that might be of support to you. The first one is, it's so important to set yourself up for success. I think that when you're at your optimal, like emotional, mental, and an even physical state. Yeah. Maybe you're a morning person. It's like, make sure to, with your partner, to wake up maybe an hour earlier than you normally would and say, we're going to spend an hour talking about that thing that we started talking about last night. Yeah. Maybe you're someone who doesn't do well when you're hungry. Have a meal together and then say, after we eat dinner, we're going to have that conversation. It's so important for people to set themselves up for success because oftentimes the opposite of that makes the conflict a bit more aggressive or not even aggressive, but way more detrimental than it would have been if you were just to have the conversation at a better time. Yeah,
I think too, like keeping or being aware of things like, do you have a test tomorrow morning? Then the night before at 12 a.m. probably isn't the best time to hash something out with your partner.
Yeah. Did you have a stressful day at work? And before that stressful day at work, you had an argument? Yeah. And it's so in a context like that, it's not best for the first thing you do when you get home to continue the conversation.
Right into the argument.
Maybe you need to go for a run or listen to music or watch an episode of your favorite TV show to decompress a bit, then have that conversation. Yeah. Set yourself up for success.
The second tip is, it's okay to take breaks. And so sometimes when you're really in the depths of a conversation, a hard conversation, I don't know about you guys, but sometimes I can start to get like confused or almost just like tired because it's taken so much of my emotional energy that I have a hard time articulating myself. I have a hard time understanding the situation as a whole. And so in those times, I need to take a break. Yeah. Whether that's for the next day or just an hour or whatever it is.
I think a good tool that people can use is, let's make sure this conversation has a part 2. Or let's have the 2.0 of this conversation tomorrow. Yeah. And I think that having that makes sure the other person knows the conversation isn't done. Yeah. But I'm just not in the place to finish it well right now. So whatever it is between the two of you, make sure to decide the mechanism you want to use to communicate and trigger that it needs to be like point two'd or
followed up.
Yeah.
Point two'd, I like that.
Point two'd. Anyways, the last one is communicate to understand, not to win. Yeah. I think that especially you type A's out there, you who are competitive like myself or like Mariah, I think it's so easy to find yourself in this place where it's like, I want to make sure my opinion is heard. Yeah. Or even for me, quite honestly, I want to win. Yeah. And I think I remember when we got married, one of my vows was, I want to use my strength for you and our relationship, not against you. And I think one of the ways I do that vow or want to do that vow well or live up to that vow well is by making sure that at the end of the day, I hope that at the end of an argument or a discussion, I understand you more as opposed to me leaving feeling like a winner kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's like so common in relationships to forget that you're a team and like sink into your individualism. And that's what kind of turns us against each other. And so just really reminding yourself, like, we are a team in this. We want to come out the other side together, not more apart. And so, yeah, as you approach a hard conversation, I would even be like saying that to myself in my head over and over, like, we're a team, we're a team, we're a team. It helps you just like approach the conversation in such a different way than if you're like, I need to get my point across and tell them what they did wrong. And like, maybe those are things you will do in the conversation, get your point across and tell them what they did wrong. But you can do that in such a different way when your motivation is to stay in the team rather than to like turn against your opponent, your team member.
Yeah, those are our 3 when it comes to how to engage in hard conversations well in a relationship. If you have any to add, make sure to drop them in the comments below.
And make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and share this video with someone who